Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. And good evening, good evening, good evening. Come in and check in with us. It's another Sunday and another episode of Chit Chat Podcast. Good evening to everybody. Good evening, good evening. So come on in, everybody. Check in. Let us know where you're checking in from. We are doing a very important topic today. And you probably have already seen the flyer that has been posted on our Instagram, our YouTube, and our Facebook. And I wanted to kind of do the intro before we get started and our guest therapist come on today. But, have you smiled and said, you were fine when deep down inside, you knew this, there was things bothering you and you was breaking down inside and you put on a brave face, you even posted happy pictures on your social media. There were probably times where you probably jumped into the next chapter of your life, trying to cover up wounds that, that was still open and all these things. Well, today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about diving into the difference between hiding and healing when we're trying to, get between and get beyond the past of putting on a facade. When we no longer have to say, I'm not hiding behind trauma and pain and things any longer. I really truly want to heal for real and be able to move forward in life without, having a mask on, because it does us no good when we're trying to put on a facade and pretend that we're okay when we're not okay, and we're not dealing with the issues that we're too scared to face and we're too scared to conquer on our own. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, hiding versus healing. And we got our love doctor on today who's going to talk about those things. And this is not always related to relationships. It can be related to childhood traumas. It can be related to career things, jobs, different things on different levels. There's so many things that we hide behind because there's people out there who want to be people pleasers, always looking to, worry about what people think and getting the validation of other people. So this is important for us to have this conversation because we want to set some people free. The Bible tells us who the Son sets free is free indeed. We don't want people living in bondage because they're out there trying to portray a life that they don't have. They are, it's not their life, because they're worried about what people think or what people see or what people portray, what people will think about their life or what they're trying to portray or whatever. We want people to be free and live in freedom about that. Hey, Miss Lanita. Hey, Libra. Hey, guys. Thank you guys for checking in. So without further ado, we're going to bring Mr. Juan Lee on, our life coach and relationship therapist that comes on with us once a month. Mr. Juan, thank you for coming on and being with us again. We love having you, the love doctor.
Hey,
Tequila said good evening.
I'm happy
Mr.
to be
Juan,
here.
the love doctor.
I'm here, happy to be here. But look, no therapy here, okay? Not a therapist. I
Okay.
am an author and I'm a coach, and I'm going to help and share with you my ideas and ideas of how we use love as a tool to navigate life. And this is a very good topic to talk about, how to use the power that love is. And it's more than an emotion or feeling. It's a tool that we can use to navigate these critical areas in our lives, regardless as to, if it's this relationship thing, or if it's something having to do with business or finances or our health. It has a powerful tool that we can use to navigate this thing through. So that's my expertise, is in that area of using those gifts and talents that we have on the inside to be
Right.
able to navigate these external or exterior sub or situations. It doesn't really matter what they are.
Yes. Tequila said, Mr. Juan, that's therapeutic for us.
Okay, don't say it was from me as a therapist. Okay, it was
Okay,
it
well,
was
we'll
it
keep you
was
at the
from,
coach. We'll keep you
yeah,
at the coach then.
yeah.
We'll keep you at the coach. And so we stand corrected with that. But I want to start off by asking you, why do you think people pretend to be healed? Like, why do people pretend that they are healed when they're not?
That really is at the core of this, and that is that we don't know who we are. It's painful to admit that we are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It really goes back to it being inadequate. It again, we feel inadequate whether or not we are or not. But again, it's that mindset that we've already been, those things that we've built up inside of us that feel like it's not okay to have setbacks. It's not okay to have challenges, um, because here's the thing: setbacks and challenges are, as we've heard before, they're set up for a comeback. They're setups. They're growth. It's an indicator that we need some growth.
Right.
Okay, and that's in and of itself has some pain that's going to have to be involved in growth. That's a stretching. That's me
Mm,
wanting to be. We've got to get outside of what's comfortable to be able to see what's possible. you
yeah.
know so that's where we all are. This is not new for any of us. And that's all of our things, is in that is as soon as we can get to that point of getting to that pain and finding out, okay, it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be who I am. It's okay, because it's not okay for me to stay here, but it's okay for me to recognize that this is where I am.
Yeah. And I can admit that healing is not comfortable. So a lot of people see it as a way of, it's trying to escape the discomfort of healing, because you got to face so much. And a lot of it is facing yourself, not so much of facing, you're facing other things, hurts, pain, issues and other issues like that. But a lot of it is facing issues within yourself. And a lot of times we don't like to do that. We don't like to evaluate or assess ourselves, because sometimes it shows us the ugly truth. Some things that we're not happy about ourselves with, some things that, that we know we need to improve, with ourselves on. And those things can hit us pretty hard. So I think, you know, a lot of that pressure with people pretending to be healed or don't want to heal, is usually a lot of that pressure, because they don't want to. My pastor in Georgia will always say, we we won't conquer what we won't. We can't conquer what we won't confront. So you can't conquer the things you won't confront. So the things that you're hiding or whatever, you'll never be able to conquer those things if you won't confront those things.
That's the healing. You talked about bondage in your opening. The bondage that we keep ourselves in is in the lack or the inability to confront those things that are holding us hostage. And because that's all they're doing, because your greatness, your fulfillment, your peace is on the other side of whatever is trying to hold you back. It's
Yes.
on the other side of it. And the only way you can do it is to confront it. You've got
Right.
to confront it. And I know it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But the
Right.
fact is that it's not easy, but it's so personal that here's the thing. As soon as we're able to confront it, we get to determine and dictate the structure or the way we deal with it. That's the whole thing. I think that the reason why we don't want to admit to it is that we don't have a plan or procedure or anything to deal with it.
Right.
Okay. But if we confront it, then we get the chance to determine how to deal with it.
Right.
And but it's on our terms. We can take it a little bit at a time. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have to get slapped in our face with it. We get look. See, and what happens is what the hurt is that there's an indication of some pain. The pain gives us there's something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If there was no pain or there would not be anything wrong. But when something happens, it's an indicator that there's something wrong, and it's up to us to go find out what it is. And it's
Yeah.
not external. It's not external. That's blame external.
Mm.
Healing is internal.
Mm. And I like that you said that too. Blame is external because we got to work on the things within us to be able to heal. Because those people outside, external, is not going to be, they can't heal us. What we're feeling and dealing with, we're got to be capable of healing ourselves and dealing with the things that we're, emotionally, dealing with within. And so, I'm glad that you said it's not external. So,
No,
so it has nothing to do with outside factors or external things, people, places, or things, because what you're dealing on the inside is what matters. That's what you got to deal with. That's what you got to
all those external things are triggers.
triggers.
That's all they
Great
are,
point.
triggers. They're going to be poking until you decide to eradicate whatever that point is that they're pointing at or they're poking at.
Mm,
And it's until that happens, that's always going to be there. And what we do is we build up walls around that area. And the thing about it, wherever we have defense mechanisms, behind those defense mechanisms is that thing that you need to address.
mm,
Whenever you put up a defense, it's you're trying to hold on to something that is very sensitive.
mm. Yeah.
That's where we have to recognize where it is. Sometimes we don't know what it is, but when we start building up for and what is that wall? Those never agains. When we start saying I'll never again, that's a wall.
Mm,
That's a wall because when we talk about never again, you're saying somebody else won't have the opportunity to be in that space where you will or where you will hurt. You won't let anybody else in there. And that's a part of being able to realize that you're not going to be open now. Now I'm unavailable. If I got a wall around, I'm unavailable to that space, that area. I'm unavailable. And in many cases, if we keep it in the romantic area, that area is important. It's essential for a healthy relationship because those, if you got walls in there, then you're not going to be able to get open up openly and wholeheartedly. It's going to be difficult. So those things that we have, whenever we start putting up those never against those walls, that's a sign that there's something that needs to be healed.
Oh, wow. That's a great point too, because, a lot of times we see ourselves like being defensive, in matters of being hurt, and we thinking, no, that's just me putting up a boundary. I'm just establishing boundaries. However, we're establishing boundaries that become permanent walls that we don't tend to ever let break down or ever come down, because now, it done became this barrier that we don't ever want to let somebody in now because of whatever trauma that we haven't completely dealt with in that area.
That's a very good way that you put that. And we really have to differentiate between boundaries and walls.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. Boundaries should reinforce all of the liberties that you're looking for, the things that liberate you, the things that define who you are. They shouldn't be things that protect you in the sense of from those things that will liberate you. They shouldn't be, they see walls, they have a sense of protection from things that are harmful to you. Boundaries should be things that allow you to be all that you can be. They're liberating boundaries. They're like, you're not going to allow, in other words, if you're at the center, you won't go outside of who you are. Think about boundaries like as a way of keeping you from something, walls keeping something from you. You see the difference in
Uh-huh.
that regards? Boundaries are things that keep you in line, but walls keep other people from you.
Right.
Okay, so that's a real difference with in using those terminologies. It's like, okay, these are my boundaries. Okay, this is what I won't do. Walls are, I'm preventing somebody from getting to me. Okay, so
Right.
yeah, that's a real difference maker.
Okay. Okay. So when we're when we're talking about hiding, then what are some cost factors of hiding? Because it hinders our healing. So what are some of the cost factors of hiding?
Um, the hiding prevents healing. It prevents it
Mm-hmm.
because when you hide, you are saying either you're not aware, or hiding implies that there's something that you don't want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You do not want to deal with it because, as we've talked about earlier, healing requires confrontation. It requires confrontation, and it prevents you from being able to make bridges with wherever that pain might be. You can't get there if you're hiding it. It has to become you got to confront it. It has to become available or aware to you for you to do anything. And you've already said that.
Yeah.
When we hide it, we are actually literally, we are afraid of confrontation.
Yeah. When I took some notes, when I was researching, I took some notes. It says hiding creates emotional burnout. It creates repeated unhealthy cycles. It increases anxiety and resentment and self blame.
All of the above. But here's the biggest thing: it eliminates our ability to learn something.
Right.
It
And it says,
hinders our ability to learn, and in learning, growing to be able to get past whatever it is what was caused the pain. It's
right.
just it's so very um counterproductive
And
to
that's
you
true,
and
because
everyone else.
it's because in the same research it says it increases, people do end up doing the same patterns. They increase doing the same patterns. They repeat the same patterns
And
in
that
relationship and
but
different things.
but that in everything in life. Here we
Yeah,
go. If we fail to learn, we will repeat it
yeah,
until we learn it. It's inevitable because we don't have anything else to replace it with.
Right.
So we're going to do this. We wonder why we do the same thing over and over again, because we don't have anything to replace it with. Situations that are similar in nature, we're going to respond to them in the same thing and what we have to respond with them.
Right.
These are all of the things that I talk about as what love does as a tool. It provides us with opportunities if we allow ourselves to be open to receive other options. And to do that requires us to have a different perspective. And in that case, it requires humility. It requires us the ability to be humble enough to say, I've got to look inside of me. I need help. I need to understand that this was not, I made this choice. And if
Right.
I made this choice, that means that I had a part to play in whatever this circumstance or situation is. It was my decision making, my thought processes that really allowed this situation to present itself.
Right. I
That's
mean,
a me thing.
because we look, I mean, if we look at how our our culture is set up, everybody celebrates the quick comebacks. And how people, and people always say, oh, get over it, get over that or whatever. So people are always pushing for others to get over something, or for, people to have a quick comeback. So I think a lot of times it's the pressure, it's the social pressure of people not people wanting to move on so quickly and to get over things, or to seem like they're over things, so they don't have, because of the fear of judgment, because of the culture of people wanting people to be like over something, or you still, you still on that, you still dealing with that, or you still, or whatever. When healing, your healing process is your process. It just like grieving, your
And
grieving process is your process. It doesn't matter if it takes you 5 days or 5 years. It's your process. And so people can't determine how long it takes you to get through healing or grieving or whatever. Um, you know, for you. You determine that for you. And so, but we allow culture and our social norms to dictate how quickly we should get over things, or how, out of fear of judgment of people thinking, we're gonna get rejected, or people think, they ain't gonna want me, or they ain't gonna, or I need to move on to the next job, or I need to, not waddle in why I wasn't, selected for this assignment or this job or whatever. So we're so, we're not allowed to kind of process the emotions of things. Everybody, we're in such a microwave generation where everybody wants us to quickly move on, get over this, do this and this and this, where you're not allowed to process stuff, or whatever, and I was joking with one of my coworkers the other day. We was talking about how back in the day, our parents used to spank us back in the day. And as soon as we, just as soon as we finish getting a spanking, they'll be like, and hush, before I give you something else to cry about. And we'd be like, I can't even start crying about this. And you want me to start crying? Let me process this spanking first, kind of thing. And and so, and you want me to be quiet, and I can't even be quiet about this spanking, and you tell me to hush before you give me something else to cry about, kind of thing. And we just talking about that or whatever, and processing how that sounded, then, and how we're processing it now as full adults or whatever, and processing emotions about that, and how that could have triggered and trauma people, and how it has triggered and trauma people, as adults later in life.
these are all of the factors that come into why we need to understand the value and the power of love to navigate this. Because those things that you're talking about are inevitable when we are not very secure in who we are, and being allowed our outside, again, our external surroundings to dictate to us what's important to us. And it's very important that we understand who we are so that we can navigate that space. See, emotions are there to allow us to know that there's something that needs to be addressed. There are feelings that they're there. Then something needs to be addressed. And the thing about it is that they're yours, they're mine, they're individualized. And if we allow someone externally to dictate how that process goes, then we're not being authentically ourselves.
Yeah.
We cannot allow the external, the nays and the yays to get us into a point where I'm not allowed to be my authentic self and then be comfortable in who that
True.
is.
That's true.
And who that is.
Tequila brought up a good point. She said, I think culturally, masking our pain is instilled in many of us. So, how do people even begin to identify the safe spaces to express pain and trauma, which needs to happen before we begin to unlearn masking and hiding pain?
Again, from my perspective, from how I view, because see, pain is not no one's excluded from this thing called pain. It's just how will we allow our environment, our circumstances to influence the way we navigate it. See, like you said, we've grown up where that's how we live it. We mask it. Yeah. We put it on. We fake it till we make it.
Yeah.
Okay. But the fact is that when we allow that to linger in us year after year, from young adults to midlife, we've built up somebody else that is not who we are.
That's it.
And when the moment occurs, we learn how to keep on masking and masking and masking and masking to the point where we can't even identify who we are internally ourselves. So that's why I'm saying love is so supernatural that it will address it if we allow it to. If we allow it to take on the attitudes of this love that I talk about, so that you can really be your authentic self. Right. And not allow the external noise to now keep you in bondage, because that's what that is.
It is.
That's what bondage is externally, and you're taking it on.
Yes. And a lot of it comes starts from when we grew up in our homes, because you had things that happened within the family, and the first thing they'll tell you, don't let that get outside our family, don't go outside our home, or what happens in the family stays in the family, kind of thing. And those kind of things people have heard and kept, and now when they deal with things or whatever throughout life as they have grown up, guess what happens? They keep that same stuff bottled up, and they don't address it. They don't try to get help for it. They don't try to get assistance for it. They don't try to reach out. I need help. I'm dealing with something or whatever, because guess what? Mom and them told them, you don't go outside the house for that. You don't let people know what's going on outside your house or whatever. And so people have held on to that. And because they've held on to that, there's so many people suffering in silence or whatever. And because they're suffering in silence, we are dealing with so many traumatized adults and traumatized people with baggage, years and years of baggage. So when people are coming to us and we're thinking we're getting freshly people, we're meeting people thinking, I can have a lifetime with this person. And here come years of trauma abandonment issues and issues that this person has never dealt with over the years, and you're trying to wholeheartedly love this person, and you trying to love them through pain that you don't have no idea that they don't been dealing with, and they're not even halfway even honest with you about. And it's those things that you're trying to fight against, because people are not being honest about their healing. They're hiding behind it. And so people are not like getting people authentic selves, because they're getting representations, because that's what people grew up with. That's what people knew to deal, how they dealt with it. That's how, when people don't realize that, you know, therapy is real, and I'm open to get resources and help now as an adult, you know. And we got a comment from Keisha. She said, so true, until we forget who we are and we break. Exactly. You know,
Well,
until something happens and the pressure no longer, you know, pressure pipes bust, because you can no longer, you know, keep that facade going.
the one thing that I caution everyone about, and that is to give grace.
You
Give
have to.
grace.
You
Give
have to.
grace. Give grace to not only yourself, but to others, because you and I are well familiar with the way we've been brought up,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not we have come to recognize, and this is why it's so very important that we recognize when we are hurt and acknowledge that we are hurt, and understand that that is a pain that needs to be addressed. It's not external, and it's just not the first time. It's not the first time. It's just that we've just pushed it off, shoved it to the side, and kept on going without recognizing that it's on the inside.
Right.
And by all means, when you say therapy, this is the thing that I'm talking about. That is something that we've got to realize, that we need to get the help that we need. And
Right.
so I'm a proponent of getting that help. I talk about love in a sense that will open up the doors and say, look, I need help. That's an attitude. That's an attitude of understanding that, look, we're in this thing together.
Right.
No one is navigating this thing called life by themselves.
Right. How can
And
I help you? If I love you, how can I help you? How can I be of help to you, to help you navigate through this?
well,
Because
but that's, if each individual has
yeah,
to be able to say, I need help. Each and every one
right.
of us have to say, I need help, in the sense of, okay, I need to go where I need to go to get the assistance that I need to say. And there are nothing off limits. There's nobody off limits there. It's what's right for you to get the help that you need, so that you can navigate this thing. You want your next decision to be better than your first decision or
Exactly.
your previous decision. And that means that I need to learn something else. I need to know something else about myself as to result. So why did I make the decision that I made? What caused me to decide that this was good versus that? And then comes to find out that involved in that decision is some pain, is some hurt.
Yeah.
I've got to be accountable for that.
Yes. We have a question here. How do you break down that boundary and let down your walls to actually ask for help or be able to give yourself grace?
Well, see, that's what first thing, again, we talked that those boundaries are different. Boundaries are different than walls. And let's be clear, boundaries are for your own good. These are things that are helping you to stay within your authentic self.
Liberate
You don't,
you.
huh?
I said liberate you. I took those notes.
Yeah, yeah. These are your things. Walls, another. The walls are realizing that, here's the thing. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's really the only thing that really gets you to the point of saying, I need to do something different. It's not like you stumped this is not the first time you stump your toe. It's okay to stump your toe and go, okay, well, what made me? That wall was there before, but I keep hitting that wall, the same. That's me now.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. And that's that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Recognizing that and saying, okay, what have I been doing that causes me to keep walking into that wall.
Right.
Everybody don't look. Here's the common denominator. Me.
Yep.
Everything that I'm dealing with, the common denominator is me. And when I accept that, that wall comes down.
Mm. That's
The
the
wall.
first step. That's the first step. When you
Mm-hmm.
accept it. When you
Yep.
accept it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's being humble enough to know that it's me. It's me. It's me standing in the need of prayer. It's me. I need to do some work on me.
One of the things that kind of helped me during my healing process, when I took the focus off of why I was hurting, and understood what I was what I was getting out of this healing journey. And so, and I put the focus on me. Like, why was I here in the first place? And so when I put that focus on me, when I tell you, it's almost like it just pushed me a whole year up in my healing journey. You know, what looked like I was dragging in my healing journey because I was focused on something else. But then when I start focusing on me and the things that I needed to get out of it, and not focusing, like you said, on the external, then it seemed like I jumped leaps and bounds during my healing journey. And so I think that's what's important when you start making it about you, and then what you really need to get out of it, and focus on the needs of you. I think it really makes a big difference.
I'm gonna share something with you. And when decisions need purpose, when we make decisions, we need to have purpose behind or what drives the decision. And many times we don't have purpose in our decision making. We make decisions because they feel good. It's something that I want, something that I want, but don't address the purpose. Why is it important that I get or do what I'm doing? What's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of it? When you give something purpose, then your decisions are in line with that purpose. So when you begin to identify your role in that purpose, it begins to really begin to be focused on your decision making. And so once you're able to make a decision in line with purpose, your decision become very clear. You'll begin to be feeling very comfortable in what it is that you're doing, as long as you stay focused on what the purpose of the decisions was. So it's anything, and I mean this is in anything. Give it purpose. Give whatever you're doing purpose. Now, on a very large role, a very large basis, I think about purpose and I look at it as something very big, something that is bigger than myself, because that will keep you committed. Because it's someone else is depending on you. Like, for instance, you got children. Why do I do it? My purpose is to feed my children. My purpose is to do this. So that's going to motivate me at the same time to stay true to my decisions. So give your decisions, or your decisions, purpose. Give them purpose, and it'll be easy to make your day-to-day decisions. Your challenges will be confronted based on what it is your purpose is for whatever it is you're doing. Um, does that make sense? The relationships,
Yes. Hmm.
your jobs, what you're eating, how you're relating to other people. Why do I have this person into my life? Why do I live where I live? Why do I do what I do? What's the reasoning behind those? Because once you have a purpose, your day-to-day challenges become a little bit less of a challenge, because that's why I'm here. I'm here because I want to be a viable part of this community. So that means that when something's going wrong, I can do something about it. That's my role. I want to be here. It's not that I'm here because somebody else. This is why I want to be here. This is because I want to make a difference. That's my purpose. So then
Awesome.
when all these other challenges come our way, we're easily able to maneuver through those challenges because my purpose leads my decisions.
Awesome. So real quick, Mr. Juan, so give us some insight on what you feel like what real healing looks like then. Give us some tips on, to go from, to give somebody some positive insight so they can go from what they might be hiding into real healing, give them some tips on that.
Here's the thing. If you're in areas of your life that are dealing with um, all kinds of in many kinds of pain, um, we just want to be very introspective. We want to be able to look on the inside. And I can't say it enough. I think we've talked about this all through this episode here, is that we really have to look at ourselves in the mirror. We have to really look at ourselves in the mirror. And in many cases, we don't have to necessarily like what we see, but not be content with what we see. You don't have to like it, but we don't have to we don't want to be content with what we see in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're the one, if we're feeling the pain, there's really something wrong. It's really something wrong. And remember that somebody else is typically externally going to, not maybe, but they're going to press that button. Because and the thing about it is most times people that press that button don't know that they're even pressing that button. And as a result, you'll be upset for something that somebody else did and they won't even know.
Right.
They won't even
True.
know. They
That's
on it, they're going about their business.
mm-hmm.
And they've hit a point, they've hit something or hit a weak area, and you done lost it.
That's so true.
So you really want to avoid to not try to hold on or protect that area. You want to make aware of those areas. And the thing about it is that there's always going to be a weak spot in us. No one's perfect. No one has this, but we've got to have a mindset to want to understand that there is um, some there's a way we can feel better about our situation, and we have that control. Let's use this. Our ability to manage our environment through what we have, um, the way in which we view ourselves and see ourselves is very important as to how we handle external circumstances, because that's all they are. The real problems are internal. And if we separate the two, then we're able to get further on and enjoying this thing called life. Um, here's something that helps someone to start healing. Um, give up your need to be right.
Mm,
Okay, give up your need to be right. Instead of pushing them, um, pushing your own thought process. Um, think that there's another perspective out there. Think that there's another perspective. Now, this is just so that you can make it through the day to day and the situation. Just give up on needing to be right. There's another perspective.
More
That
than one
comes,
way to skin a cat.
yeah, but that comes from here it is, it comes from the mindset of the attitude of sacrifice. Sacrifice your perspective. Okay. The
I
next
agree.
one, the next one is be open and gentle. That's where it really comes into being humble enough to understand that kindness in the front of confrontation, even when you're confronting, be kind, just be gentle and open to doing what it is that needs to be done. It's going to take some confrontation. Um, caring, show consistent compassion. These are all attitudes of love that will allow you to be able to navigate the space that you're in and the situations that you're confronted with. Because everybody, here's the thing, everybody is dealing with something.
Yes.
And understand that your situation is not, it's unique to you, but it's not unique to everybody. Everybody's got some more. Everybody's got their own.
Right.
Um, hmm. Responsibility requires you to take on your own ownership.
Mm.
You have to own your choice, your part in the situation. If you want to get healed, you've got to own your part.
I like that.
You know, we've got to stop the blame game. Um, you've got to be courageous. Got to
Oh,
be courageous. And this is why it takes courageous. Sometimes you've got to address the elephant in the room.
oh yeah.
Um,
Healing requires that. You gonna definitely have to be courageous to deal with healing.
yeah, you got to address the, you just, and the one that's so very difficult a little bit more than the other one. It's one thing I said earlier, it's to be able to address it on your own terms, but sometimes you have to address them openly. And
Oh yeah.
that's when it gets a little bit more, but you gotta do it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta do it. And then just don't give up on the journey trying to get your healing. You
Patience.
know, but here's the point. In this regard, it's just being tenacious. Just grab onto it and say, I'm not getting, like the old, I'm not letting go until I get my healing, my
Yeah,
blessing.
that's it.
I'm not letting go. You know, you're worth it. You're worth it. Okay. So that means that you're going to go through whatever it takes to get through so that you can get that release, that liberty that you're that joy, that peace, that
Mm.
ability to feel that way of happiness. That's yours. It's not
Right. That
optional.
peace. That
That peace.
peace. Ooh, Jesus.
Now, the last one you're going to have to practice discipline.
Mm.
That is the consistency of this all. You can't start this and then decide that you want to quit it in the sense where it got too hard. And be patient.
Yeah.
Let the process go the road that it's going. But discipline is going to be that continual process of going through it, doing it, repeating it, knowing that this is the road to get you to where you want to go. See, this is the thing. Love doesn't, love does not hurt, it heals.
Right.
And when you allow it to do what it can do for you, it will liberate you. It will bring you the peace that allows you that you've heard that the peace that surpasses all understanding. This is what this transformation is all about when it comes your way, when you're able to see things clearly and you understand that I know that road. That's not for me.
That clarity. Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. It's not my, that's not for me. It
Mm,
might look good, might smell good, but that ain't my road.
mm. Yeah. And having that support system too, when you say discipline, that helps too. Having seeking a support system during your time of healing, whether that's therapy, if it's faith-based for you, if it's, trusted friends and family or whatever. That way, these people are going to, hold you accountable. They're going to be there to, not let you give up and, and be supportive during this time. So, because, like you said, it takes courage to go through healing. It's not pretty. Healing is not pretty at all. And and there's times that you got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. And sometimes the hard truth is being honest with yourself, and seeing yourself through some ugly truths. Um, so yeah,
That's
support
all,
system.
that's all absolutely true. These are things that you said that we all have to confront.
Mm-hmm.
No one. And when you said, those, one of those big ways to tear down one of those the walls is to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
When you say stuff to someone else, that means that you're free enough now to let it out. Most of the time, we won't say anything, and that bottles it up. That keeps it hidden. When
Mm-hmm.
you say something to someone, it's now allowing someone else to see, and that's a way of bringing down that wall. But we want to hide that which we don't like, and that's a problem because it's when we open it up, we can now become no longer captive to it.
Freeing ourselves. Whew.
Just talk to somebody. Talk. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who it is. Just talk to somebody. And I say that with a little caveat. You got to have confidence in the person you talk to, in the sense that they're having the ability to experience this and walk with you through it. Um, so when I say anybody who's qualified, that you feel comfortable with in allowing them, because it's about, you need somebody that's can walk with you through this. Not just that you're gonna say something to them and they're gonna be blurting it out to the world, but that you feel comfortable with in sharing it. And I am heavily into professional therapists, preferably professional therapists.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely that. Yeah. Yeah, because pain don't have to define us. You know, I don't even like to know that people bottle that up and hold it in, because at some point it comes out of you, and sometimes it's not, you know, in a good way when people do that. And so you know, it doesn't have to define us, so we can release, our healing in structured in ways, through, therapy, and ways that we can go through our healing process that would, cause us to, have a way of releasing our emotions and processing our emotions and things, um, that gets us through life way easier than holding and bottling stuff up. I can't even imagine, not having a therapist now that I have a therapist. Like, I just can't imagine not having one. Like,
It's that ability to be able to share openly, freely, and to be able to release um, things that in many cases you didn't even know you were holding on to.
right,
You didn't even know you were holding on to it. And it's amazing how when those things become apparent to you, that you can go back then and do some self inspection and see how it actually has formed who you are,
right,
who you become.
yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any last minute questions for Mr. Lee, go ahead and post those in the comments as we begin to wrap this up. Um, this is heavy stuff, but it's necessary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like to bring that stuff up because I know it's helping people um, through some things, and some things that people don't like to just throw out there and be like, I'm going through this, or I need this, or whatever. And so, these necessary topics, I like for us to go through and have these, and especially because this is, as we wrap up September, this is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I want to make sure that we are carefully providing necessary topics and awareness to those situations that people have issues and concerns and things that could identify some stuff for them. Keisha said, "Thank you. Appreciate your time. I needed to hear this today." Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to us today. Um, like we said, we know that healing takes courage and patience and honesty with ourselves. We know that pain doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to define us. And it definitely deserves our attention. Nevertheless, we, wanted to reflect on this last week of September, as well as reflect on something that we know that people deal with, throughout life, because life is always life, and right. And whether it's you making a decision based off your career, you making a big lifetime decision, it's something with dealing with relationships, dealing with your children, or whatever the case may be. We want you to know that you do not have to hide behind emotions and pains and traumas or whatever. There's necessary help available for you guys out there. If you guys need assistance in trying to provide help when it comes to suicide awareness prevention, please DM me or send us a message on our page. We'll make sure you guys get the necessary information for that. We do have some life coaches in our group, as well as Mr. Juan is a coach as well. So you may reach out to him directly if you would need some assistance in that area as well. But there's no reason for any of us to be suffering in silence. And if you have the opportunity to get you a counselor, whether it's faith-based or just a regular therapist or a counselor or whatever, I would recommend or encourage that, because if there's somebody who professionally can sit and tell you where they have the expertise to guide you and navigate you through your process, it helps, because you can sit there and write some things down. Journaling has been a help for me through my process, because there's things I can write down that if something has triggered me during my process or during my days or weeks that I have not met with my therapist, I can write those things down, whether it's something at work, a coworker, my boss, or whoever, and I can write those things down. That gives me an opportunity to chat with my therapist on those things, that we can dissect those things together. And if it can be an emotion, something I dealt with, I broke down in traffic, because somebody cut me off in traffic and I had an emotional moment. Whatever the case may be, I journal that stuff, so that way I'm able to make sure I get some identification and processing some stuff when I'm talking and with my therapist and all that. So journaling has been a big help for me. So, I'm just throwing that suggestion out there. If those of you out there who might be out there thinking like, well, maybe I should write some stuff down or whatever. But, you know, but in all things, healing leads to peace. All of us want that peace of mind when we're hiding, it gives us those patterns, those repeated patterns, that repeated pain cycle. And we don't want that. We're trying to get to that healing. We're trying to get to that peace, that prosperity, that purpose. We want to have that. We want to have that clarity as well. And so that's where we're trying to get you guys to be driven to. That's where we want to live at, in that place of clarity and peace of mind. So there's no cloudedness, there's no misjudgment, there's no things that are going to cause us no pain or trauma or anything like that. So, you know, and hiding keeps us in bondage in those things. And so, listening to Mr. Juan today, he gave us some tips on some things. So I hope you guys took notes. I was taking notes and stuff. Think of some things that he told us about. Being open and gentle, giving yourself grace. What he say? Give up your need to be right. That's a big help for me. And it says, give whatever you're doing purpose. And I love that, because if you give everything that you do purpose, it's going to drive you on everything in life. We've all seen the book Purpose Driven Life or whatever. If you got purpose behind anything, it's going to drive you. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's. Thank you, Miss Lanita. Thank you for tuning in today. But if you guys have any additional questions, or you want to reach out to Mr. Juan personally, Mr. Juan, give them your contact info, how they can reach out to you if they need to.
Yeah, let me just share. Here, I just want to say this last thing, that everyone who's hearing me tonight or this evening, understand that you are important, you are necessary, and what you have is sufficient. I want you to know that you are important, and you're worthy of being having peace. You're worthy of being happy, and that this is the process. This is the beginning of a new you, and it's okay. Yeah. If you are interested, if anybody on your platform are on Clubhouse on Tuesday nights at 7:30 and on Friday nights at 7:30, myself and a psychologist is on there, and we talk on Clubhouse. So if you can, and the room is called the Love Mindset Lounge. Okay, if you want to hear more and learn more, to engage with us on a different platform, it's the Love Mindset Lounge. And this week we're going to be talking about, on Tuesday, we're going to talk about living with gratitude instead of entitlement. Oh,
okay. And then she's on Clubhouse.
Well, check him out, join us. And then on Friday, we're going to be talking about choosing love over anger. Ooh. So all of these things are just tools that we can use so that we can navigate, and how love helps us navigate life in all these various areas. So if you want to reach out to me over there, and you can always reach me on my YouTube channel, or my YouTube channel. We have a lot of different videos on there. It's at Clear Journey Inc. is the YouTube channel, or you can reach me at any of my social media, which is all based on Clear Journey. So if you look up Clear Journey Inc., you can find me. And if you want to send me an email, you can send me an email at juan@clearjourney.org. If you want to reach out to me individually. But we're going to be launching a course. It's going to be a little mini course based on my book, Love Made Simple. So look out for that going over to our website on Clear Journey. And there's going to be, like I said, there's other stuff over there that you can find out. My book, Love Made Simple, is over there that you can find, and it's Audible as well as a paperback. So yeah, just come holler at me over at Clear Journey, and stay involved and engaged in what we're doing.
Absolutely. And we're so glad to have him part of us. He comes to us once a month on Chit Chat Podcast, and we love the added addition of him and his wisdom that he brings. She's on the first Tuesday. I'm on another platform at 7:00. I'm going to try to find you, Dr. Juan.
On Friday
On
then, because it's
Friday.
Tuesday, I'm on Friday at 7:30.
Friday at 7:30, Miss Lanita. So you
Yeah.
can catch him on that Friday at 7:30.
All righty.
All right. So, guys, that is it for us this week. We will be getting the next time we'll meet will be October. So we'll be jumping way into October, which is the Chit Chat Podcast birthday month. So Chit Chat Podcast turns 2. And so we're pretty excited about that. So some pretty exciting things are coming up for that. As well as we celebrate our anniversary year. And so we'll be celebrating that episode as well as the awareness months for October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're going to highlight those 2 for October and do some fun things for the podcast throughout October for the podcast anniversary, as well like the flat screen TV giveaway. But you guys going to have to do some stuff on that part. So all that information will be posted this week and sent out. So if you haven't liked, subscribed, or shared the podcast or whatever, please make sure you do so. We are on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So make sure you are part of the podcast family. We love to have you. If you know other people that would be interested in this podcast, please share the platform. We would love to increase our podcast family. Thank you, Miss Lanita. Thank you so much. But we will see you guys next Sunday. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you again, Mr. Juan. We will see you next month.
All righty. Look forward to seeing y'all.
No problem. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.